already so hard to get right now. I think it's going to define this market. And I would venture to say that you got about a week or more, maybe 10 days before, if you're not buying something right now, you will not get product into 2023. It'll be into 2023 before you get it. It's getting tough, it's getting tight, and I don't see it getting better, honest to God. But the manipulation and the suppression of the silver market has been extreme. I guess what I would say is different through all the time that you've been talking about this, and I've been talking about it, is the positioning of the commercial banks that are now long in the futures market, is the drawdown in physical supply. And I guess who in their right mind would want to be short in this market when the nickel market issue debacle in the London Metals Exchange in March showed just what can happen? And the concentrated short position in silver is many times what it was in nickel. It would be a epic disaster. So maybe, just maybe, the commercial banks have set a trap for the managed money who continue to go short. And maybe as prices rise, they won't come in and short the price. And price will become more a reflection of supply and of demand. Because right now, there's a disconnection there. And demand is well outpaced the supply. And you wouldn't know it by the price. And that's what's masquerading really what the true reality of what this market's all about right now. I've been, for the last 2 years, I have been loading up on bars. I buy 10-ounce, kilo, and 100-ounce. And I'd go out on my line of credit and buy all I could buy from all of the major refineries all around the world. And to me, they've been a much better value. You're still able to get Comex bars, ironically. And so we can get the 1,000-ounce bars off of Comex. Don't know how much longer we'll be able to do that. We also have a relationship with a large distributor in Canada, and some of these bars come off the large banks in Canada. So we have a supply. We've been getting in kilo, 10-ounce, and 100-ounce bars. And yes, we have coins, the Britannias, some Maple Leafs, some Eagles. But I mean, you're talking 750, 775 just for the Britannias, higher on the Maples, and I don't know, 16, 17, $18 on the Eagles. It's insanity. So there have been bars, and you can get it. We have junk silver at 1175. Do you see what I'm getting at? It's like all of a sudden these premiums are getting out of control. And is it getting out of control, or is it just the market's way of saying that the price that is quoted on Comex is just flat out wrong? And I'll tell you, if price were a determinant of demand, as it should be in a fairly traded market, silver would be $100 an ounce or higher. Wealthy people, before Roosevelt confiscated gold, sent all their gold across the Atlantic in steamships to safe deposit boxes of Europe. They were cued in and clued in on hey, this is coming, better get your stuff out of the country. Well, I think that's what you're seeing right now. The biggest money in the world, or the industrials, or the hedge funds, or the family offices, or the sovereign wealth funds, they're drawing down supplies well before that moment happens. And you can see, I mean, it was at 120 million ounces or so at Silver Squeeze. We're down to 34 million. We saw 37 million delivered to India in the month of August alone. We've seen the London Metals Exchange deliver like 45 million ounces in the month of September. And that's 8 million ounces, almost 10 million ounces, even more than that. 11 million ounces more than the price setting mechanism of the world has in the registered category. And if you take, I didn't see what it said, but last week, if you took the registered and the eligible and put it together, there was 218% more paper than all the silver inside the COMEX. So, you know, you're talking, if you threw the eligible in there too, 1 out of every 2 would get paper settled, or 1 out of almost every 3. At the 1,800% paper to physical discrepancy, 1 out of 18 would get their silver, the rest would get cash settled. We're almost at that rate. And if you look at the London Metals Exchange, which is supposed to be the epicenter, down to its lowest level since 2016 when they started recording silver stockpiles, if you look at how the silver ETFs keep bleeding quietly, millions of ounces a day out the back end, the big money is front running an event just like that. And it has to happen. The laws of supply and demand have to come into play at some point, Chris. If it's coming out of the ground at 7 to 1, in its relationship to gold, but priced it near 90 to 1, at some point, that has to reflect reality. And I think that's kind of why you're seeing the drawdowns the way you are. In 2008, there was a defined beginning and a defined end. And this has just been a slow bleeding. And that's why I've been talking about it for the last 2 years. And I got a lot of crap. It's a fraction of what they're doing. They're doing like 85,000 a month or something like that. So if they're lucky, we'll do 10 million this year, 13 million, something like that, 12 million. And they have the capacity to do a whole hell of a lot more than that. I think it's just becoming very difficult to get silver. And there is an awful lot of overcapacity. I mean, there are open orders that go out, and certainly that's part of it. But something bigger is at foot here, and that is, I think it's becoming harder to get product, at least from this level. Now, if you're talking the good delivery bars, if what Tyler is saying is true, well, when that comes up, then it's good night, Irene, because I don't know where you're going to get it. I have no idea. If all of a sudden you get to that point, the all-time low, I think, in registered was around 20 million ounces, I think. And if at the rate we're going, you know, we're pretty close to that. At some point, they have to say you can't take delivery any longer, or the whole system blows up. So it's a combination of way more demand than there is supply, and capacity is betraying the price. What is happening is what the biggest money in the world always does. They front run the problem, and they're using the rhetoric and the price to reposition before everyone figures it out. That's what's different this time. Before, it was hope springs eternal and green shoots forever in the US with the dollar. And I think we have dug ourselves a hole that we can't get out of, because as rates continue to rise, we're going to have the same problem that they did in the UK. At some point, the bond managers have to sell, and the pension funds have to sell, or they're just going to get destroyed, eviscerated. That's why you got Janet Yellen coming in saying that she wants to issue short-term treasuries to provide liquidity to the back end of the market. And she'll buy the 10 and the 30 year, which are loaded into these pensions that nobody wants, which are inverted in the yield curve right now. Anyway, we are at that part of the game where things are spinning out of control all over the world, and it's coming here too. And maybe that's why you're seeing these drawdowns before it happens. I think it's different than before, because the world is different than before, and the United States is different than before, and maybe even retaining its world reserve status has a possibility that is different than before. So this is unlike anything I've seen, where I'm concerned about getting product. I'm concerned about premiums not coming back down. And I really believe this is just the beginning, and I wish I didn't.